Yeah, no worries. Welcome! It is another mini episode of Mark. Aren't you delightful to see my lovely face and my voice only? Welcome. So, as we've mentioned in the previous episode, I've got back into Warhammer. Now, I took a break from massive long years. My concentration got better. Painting skills I've been relearning. And I got back in, not officially playing until 10th, but I did get back into 9th edition when the Leagues of Votan released, and they are like the Dwarven army. Now, I do love the Dwarf armies in all kinds of scenarios, and the fact their lore and what they do was quite appealing. The fact is, like, they're not out there to necessarily get rid of, well, not get rid of everybody. They're willing to actually trade and use diplomacy, but if they don't, then they will go to war. And the fact is, their equipment that they do have is used for civilian use as well as war. So if they do have a vehicle, it can be used for civil use, not just war. They're quite interesting in the sense that they're not just soldiers. Once the wartime or the battle is ended, they will stop and go back to doing civilian life. And they have a nice connection with their AI systems, which are like the Iron King. They don't treat them like a robot, they treat them like blood. So on a battlefield, if one of them is damaged, they will risk their blood, their bodies, to save it, just as they would vice versa. And I did my first game probably when this releases, maybe only a few weeks ago, maybe about a month, and I managed to win. So a friend of mine...
It was 2 weeks before this release.
Right, that's just the fact finder. And yeah, was the first game I ever played, and it was using the new systems. And I managed to win quite well. My half gun did well, my fortress did well, and I got to say I'm looking forward to getting back into the hobby again, as you make little stories when you're doing it. It may always seem complicated and not fun at first, but once you start getting the hang of the rules, start rolling the dice and you start using the abilities that you have, it can be quite fun. And you've got different phases in the game as well. Like, you've got your movement, you've got your shooting, you've got your charge, and there are certain strats you can play if you use like command points, and it could be like, oh, you get an extra attack. Now, what I love about the Voltan is that they've got a judgment, which is kind of like, I judge you, and if you place one of those markers, you can get like extra hit chance with an extra roll of the damage, and you can pretty much put big hurt on big prey. Now, I've enjoyed the hobby quite well. I've painted on my social medias. I should be uploading a lot more of the hobby because I'm making time for it now, whereas before I put myself on a backlog. So I do have a very big pile of shame, and unfortunately the big pile of shame is growing because I've also got other games, not just Warhammer, that have miniatures, and unfortunately there are more coming out. So I'm going to be busy, and the thing is, for me, I changed my paint style 500 times when it came to the Voltan, and I'm still now only just fixated on sticking to... Usually I don't stick to box art, I usually like doing my own thing. However, the Great Ethereal League was something that I loved their lore when I read the book, and I wasn't getting along with the contrast paints as much at the moment, so my models weren't looking as great as when I tried following the War Hipster. But the artwork that Citadel did for the Great Ethereal League was quite nice, and I've got the paints and I've been trying that out. And it's interesting using base paints, layer paints, and it's a fun challenge. It's daunting, and I know I've got to smoothen out some of my models, but they will take shape, and they will be soon coming to a battlefield or onto my social medias, which is Rune Cats.
It's still Viking Cats on Twitter.
Yeah, I might change my Twitter one, or Twitter or X, whatever it is. And
Twitter. No one calls it X.
Nah, no one calls anything their X, but I'm bunch. But yeah, so my Warhammer content will be coming back soon, and I think more people are getting into it now. The books are great, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the new journey. Now, I will talk about Warhammer throughout, probably more minisodes of Mark, but this is just introduction videos like I did with the previous ones. So I'm signing out for now, and I'll let you know more progress soon. Bye-bye.
Just a couple of guys chatting over a brew. Won't tell you no lies, it's